Is it okay for cabinet secretaries to be also politicians? Is it okay for failed politicians, people who have vied for parliamentary seat, a gubernatorial seat and failed, to be appointed to the cabinet? Is it okay? Or do we have major issues when we go in this direction, which, by the way, is contrary to the direction envisaged by those who crafted our Constitution? And of course, they looked at the past, the evils of the past, what had happened to the nation called Kenya in the past, and in crafting our 2010 Constitution, did everything in their power to erect barricades, obstacles to anybody playing the games, the same games of old. Welcome to my show today, where I look at the vetting of one of the very controversial politicians we have in the country, Aisha Jumwa, former Malindi Town legislator, who has been appointed cabinet secretary in the William Samoei Ruto government. And I assure you, this is going to be super fascinating, because I include video clips of Aisha Jumwa in action. I'm sure you're going to thoroughly enjoy this, even as we educate ourselves on what we're getting into as a country. We are really going in the wrong direction, in my opinion. With all due respect to Aisha Jumwa, and with all due respect to women leaders in our country, we need them. We need more of them. Yeah. But this is not about leaders who are women. No. As you'll soon find out. Now, a quick one: if you're already enjoying this video, please remember to give me a like. That will help me. And weekly intelligence briefings number 89 is finally out. There was a small delay, but now it should be in your inbox. This is a weekly intelligence briefings and a half. Now you can see details on your screen right now on how you can become a subscriber by taking advantage of our latest offer, which is in Kipindi Chalala Salama. Anytime it will be pulled down. So rush and take advantage of it. And of course, this information is pasted on a clip taken directly from my weekly intelligence briefings number 89. Right, folks, twende kazi. Those who crafted our Constitution, which is hailed as being amongst the best in the world, not only in Africa, even better than the South African Constitution, had one burning intention in mind: to limit as much as possible corruption in government. And one of the ways they did this, very deliberately, was to create the position of cabinet secretaries who were not supposed to be politicians. That is the very clear intention and spirit of our 2010 Constitution. You see, in the old days, cabinet ministers were members of parliament, politicians. And so once you became a member of parliament, your next burning ambition was to be a cabinet minister. Now, you're a politician, You're cutting deals in parliament. And then you're also a cabinet minister. What do you expect to happen in the Kenyan context? You will do deals, corrupt deals, which will obviously raid public coffers. That's really what it is. And we have many individuals through our history who have become multi-billionaires after being appointed cabinet ministers. They were not rich when they were MPs. They were struggling when they were MPs, but they instantly became billionaires shortly after they were appointed to the cabinet. And so the crafters of our constitution, to ensure that they got rid of this loophole, being exploited by politicians to raid public coffers, created the position of cabinet secretary, who is not a member of parliament, not a politician. That was the whole intention. But what have our politicians done? They've reverted us back to the old system. How so? They have decided that cabinet secretaries will be politicians who did not get elected, who didn't make it in the last election. And although these cabinet secretaries are not in parliament, politicians have still found a way to frustrate the intention and the spirit of our constitution. Because if you are a former politician, if you are a former member of parliament, you're in parliament, you have contacts in parliament already. You don't have to sit inside the house, the August house, to cut deals. No. You're already familiar with the people there. Many of them were your colleagues re-elected. And therefore, you can still cut your deals. To cut a long story short, we are back in the old days. Those who crafted the Constitution have been frustrated. They have failed to seal this loophole. Now I'm going to analyze two particular members of parliament who were vetted yesterday by parliament for the position of CS. And I believe, by revealing certain facts to you, you will be able to see how comical this whole situation is. It's actually a tragic comedy. Now, the two I've picked are Aisha Jumwa, former member of parliament for Malindi Town, and a man called Moses Kuria, former MP to the president, the Gatundu South legislator, formerly. Now, in another video, I will tackle Moses Kuria, but in this particular video, let us focus on Aisha Jumwa. Now, Aisha Jumwa turned up for her vetting, very well dressed, executive suit, lipstick to match. She sat mostly quietly, a far cry from the Aisha Jumwa we know in politics. And we're going to see that very clearly for those of you who may not be familiar with Aisha Jumwa, the politician, who is now transforming herself into the official Aisha Jumwa, Cabinet Secretary of the Government of Kenya. Now, this is Aisha Jumwa, the politician.
Kama mimi siwezi kupeana mkono kule juu, lakini hapa chini kuna hasla mwenzangu nami ninamkumbatia. Mabaya hayo. Si kila mtu huenda kwa saizi yake. Si kila mtu huenda kwa saizi yake. Sasa mimi dhambi niloifanya ni ipi? Tuonane bandarini inshallah.
And there's more, much more. This now is Aisha Jumwa in the thick of things. Wah, 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 wah. That is not a photoshopped video. If there's anything like that, no. It is the reality. Our new cabinet secretary. Oh, I can hear somebody saying not yet. Oh, don't worry about that. She will sail through. No doubt about that. You see, the path has been cleared. You remember she was cleared of criminal charges? The charges were withdrawn by the DPP just the other day, and just on time. Trust me, the road is clear. This is a new cabinet secretary. You can be sure of that. Now, before I show you a super fascinating clip from the vetting session, it is important that we understand a little more about Aisha Jumwa. The real Aisha Jumwa. This is a very tough lady. Indeed, I did a video, I think it was in 2018, about some very interesting, fascinating facts from her past. And I just want you to listen in. I'm sure you'll find it super, super fascinating. Listen in.
The story goes that when she started getting involved in politics, her husband said, no, you must leave politics. And it's not too difficult to figure out what upset him. You see, Aisha Jumwa's style of politics, her style of campaigning involves singing, poems, and a lot of swinging of hips. And in her flawless Kiswahili, she sometimes uses naughty parables. So when her husband told her to leave politics, Aisha Jumwa told him, no, I'm not leaving politics. The husband then said, then the only thing you can do is pay dowry, repay dowry. Now, you know, in many African customs, when the wife returns to her parents and a divorce has been recognized, the parents will have to return the dowry that was paid by her husband. Now, in Aisha Jumwa's case, she personally paid back the dowry. And it is said she even escorted the herd of cattle back to her in-laws. She did that personally. This is quite a woman. You will also remember that in August this year, around August 21st, when 8 legislators were locked up in police cells, Aisha Jumwa was one of them. You'll remember that around that time, things were very hot politically in the country. And these legislators were charged with incitement, making inflammatory statements. Just to remind you, other legislators in the same group were people like Johnston Muthama, Moses Kuria, Ferdinand Waititu, Junet Mohammed, the Suna East legislator, etc., etc. But only 2 women were in the group, Aisha Jumwa, and of course the Busia women rep, Florence Mutua. Now, Aisha Jumwa spent 3 days in the police cells at Muthaiga police station. And she said that she was very upset that they were not allowed visitors and they were not allowed to change clothes. They were not allowed a change of clothes. And therefore she found it quite crazy that a woman is not allowed to change her clothes for 4 days. But of course she was not cowed, even when released. Yeah, because you'll remember her famous catchphrase, mpaka kieleweke. Loose translation, this must be understood. Yeah, this was at the time when the Jubilee government had legitimacy issues, yeah, after the August presidential elections. The long and short of it all is that Aisha Jumwa is a tough woman. She is no flower girl. Definitely not. In fact, it is interesting that a lot of people still call her the Malindi women's rep, but she's not. She's a Malindi member of parliament. Yep, she beat several men at the ballot, yeah, to be elected into parliament.
Mr. Chairman and honorable members, my name is Aisha Jumwa Garissa Katana. I am a mother of 3 young adults and a very active and strong supporter of my 52 immediate family members in a very diverse capacity. Mr. Chairman, I have walked a journey that has never been a walk in the park for me to be seated before you and these honorable members today. Mr. Chairman, when I contested and lost the 2007 elections for Bahari constituency in the old dispensation, I reflected and took stock. And this is how I made the sacrifice in order to erase the past of ignorance and grace the academic corridors of universities. I was born and raised in humble settings in a historical fishing village known as Takaungu in Kilifi North constituency in Kilifi County. And my parents were poor. They used to struggle to provide for me.
Compose yourself. We have all walked to the same journey, don't worry.
To provide for me and my 27 siblings. So I went to a local school known as Takaungu Primary from 1993 to 1991. And Mr. Chairman, I proceeded to Ganze Secondary School. Regrettably, I had to drop out due to lack of school fees. And Mr. Chairman, I have touched a little bit about my family, and that explains how we used to struggle and the lack of school fees. I was at home. There were absolutely no prospects to expand my horizons, so I was just there. And little did I know the sad fate that most of the rural girls face awaited me with open arms: early marriage. So, Mr. Chairman, I got married off, and in that union, I became a mother of my firstborn.
Thank you, Chair and Speaker. Now, I would like the nominee, having been nominated to serve in a high public office, and having been also very visible in public in the campaign trail, and having been a leader for a long time, and noting, Chair, that Chapter 6 of the Constitution is very clear about leadership and integrity, read together, of course, with the Public Officer Ethics Act. I want to bring the attention of this committee to one Nancy Baraza, who was Deputy Chief Justice, whose crime at one time in one of the malls was to poke her finger on the nose of a security guard, and that cost her her job. Now, the nominee in question here has been named in several cases. a case to do with murder that occurred in a home of an opponent where she stormed together with her team, a case of misappropriation of NGCDF funds, a civil case by a Mr. Devshi Narang Kambi for fraudulent acquisition of his land, and not to forget numerous verbal altercations, Mr. Speaker, that we have seen publicly. And also noting that this was a nominee of the ODM party to the Parliamentary Service Commission who went against the wishes of that party for the last 5 years. Are your transgressions, are her transgressions any less than that which was committed by Nancy Baraza? And is she willing to be fair and accept the challenges of this leadership and integrity chapter and maybe step aside from this position?
Aisha, answer those four.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And perhaps I should start with one for Honorable Jumwa. Honorable Jumwa, I don't own a gun, and I have never in my life applied for a gun. The second one is to appraise on the cases, or to inform the committee on the cases that are in court. Mr. Chairman, it is in the public domain that, as I have been saying, these cases were politically motivated, and I still stand strong and saying it again here that they were politically instigated, and I'm happy because this country is a country of laws. The DPP dropped the case that is touching on the misappropriation of funds for the NGCDF. And on the second issue of the murder case, Mr. Chairman, first I want to empathize with the family. Indeed, there was a loss of life. It was unfortunate. But again, Mr. Chairman, as I have said, I am clear in my mind that I never shot anyone because I don't own a gun. I'm not a gun holder, and I don't know even the names of the guns in this country. The weapons that this country possesses, I don't know the names. So, also there are 3 witnesses that so far have testified in court, and none of these witnesses mentioned my name. And again, there was a ballistic report which is in the public domain that my name was not in any way mentioned on the same. So, Mr. Chairman, I want to say I am innocent, as the Constitution suggests, the presumption of innocence until proven guilty. I still hold on that, Mr. Chairman.
I now believe you have a very clear picture, of where we're going with our new style, our new approach of appointing cabinet secretaries. It should be as clear as day, because we have looked very deeply, and I believe have been very fair, very balanced, and we have looked very deeply into the character of the CS, Aisha Jumwa. And that is why, in my considered view, cabinet secretaries should never, ever be politicians. There are very good reasons for that. And I'm sure, if you have stayed with me right from the beginning, you will totally agree with me. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.